The fact that the physical gaming market is starting to slowly fizzle out is absolutely terrifying. And that's because the digital gaming space offers no benefits besides not needing to get up off your couch. And to show you just how bad the digital marketplace is, here is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot on a 17% sale today for $24.99 for Xbox. Hard copy. I mean, I could also borrow it from a friend if they had it, but that's besides the point. This is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot on the Xbox Game Store. Still full price, $79.99.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back on Angry Guys channel. Guys, if you haven't heard of me, Andy Matrix, make sure to click the link below this video. I have a YouTube channel called Andy Society where I talk about economics and social issues. I also have a gaming channel where I also talk about anime and Japanese culture. It's all the link is in the description section. And for today's video, we're going to be talking about how gaming companies don't care about physical games anymore. Now, before we go ahead and get started, guys, go check out Angry Guy on Rumble. Right, he's on Rumble. YouTube has become the censor station, right? And there's really more freedom over there on Rumble. Also, guys, if you're interested in learning how to trade or make profits from crypto, if you want to learn about cryptocurrency, make sure to check out Angry Guy's Crypto Academy, also in the link below. Now let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and start with our first video here. Then I'm going to move on and make some commentary. Let's get to it. Here we go. Hold on.
I just did something really crazy. Like, I've been really mad at Nintendo and how they're moving to like only digital only, and how you don't own the games, and how they're doing the key card thing so that you don't even have the games on the cartridge. So like I did something crazy. I'm protesting Nintendo, and I bought a Steam Deck.
Okay, I mean, it's a start. I'll tell you this. Buying a Steam Deck is a much better option, because if everything's gonna be digital, you might as well just, not even support the big three anymore. The Steam Deck really is a much better option nowadays. And actually, PC gamers buy more games than they do with console games. Right, this is a fact, because there's also more discounts. There's a lot more discounts for PC gamers on Steam and on Epic Games, which is something that you don't see that often with physical games. So it's a lot of perks to being a PC gamer nowadays.
Has released digital game cards, and I finally was able to kind of see how it works. See, I don't hold digital games. Most of my games are physical copies. But in the case of Mario 8, the deluxe or DLC, if you will, is digital. So that is its own separate game card, if you will. It was a very interesting experience, because I was playing on my Switch, my OLED Switch, and I was playing Mario Deluxe, and I wanted to get home and play with the kids, only to find that I couldn't do that because I had to not only pair my Switch, but transfer the DLC to the other Switch, and then it would have to be transferred back. So it makes just a crazy extra step that I don't know. I don't think it's very much necessary. But anyway, so I don't know what I think of it. I think it's kind of
Yeah, I feel your frustration, buddy. Look, when Sony and Xbox, when they announced, this was like 2022, 2023, right? When they were starting to announce the digital future, where I think it was Sony. Sony launched their video game streaming service. What's it called? The PlayStation Plus or something like that, right? I think it was. I actually bought it for like a month, and I played a couple of games there. It was all right. It's like the Netflix of gaming. And then, of course, we already had the Xbox Game Pass, right? So at that point, we already knew that Xbox and Sony PlayStation were heading towards a digital future, right? They were already making announcements for it. They were already talking about it. So then eventually people were like, okay, so in 2023, 2024, people are like, well, I guess the only ones that are keeping it traditional, that are keeping physical games and being more traditional with gaming is Nintendo, right? So we were saying that the future is just going to be, Nintendo was going to be the only company that's going to maintain, physical games. And then this year, 2025, we found out that the Nintendo Switch 2 is gonna, it's not really gonna have physical games. The little cartridge is just like a key code. You put it in, and it allows you to play the game. You still have to download the game. So you quote unquote have a physical copy, but the physical copy doesn't contain the game. So it really doesn't matter. So gaming companies are done with physical games, all right? Gaming companies are done. Sony, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, they're done with physical games. They're not doing it anymore. Okay? Because it's just is more profitable and it costs less. Right? They don't have to print out the CDs and the plastic covers and all that stuff. They don't have to do any of that. It's all digital now. Right? And it's just more profitable. They can sell you more games, and they can also take it away from you and then resell it to you at a lower price or a higher price. Oh, a bunch of
Is
bastards.
buying video games physically going to die off? In case you missed it, Microsoft laid off around 1,900 employees across their gaming departments this week from Xbox, Activision Blizzard, and ZeniMax Bethesda. It looks like one of those teams that was impacted, according to Xbox reporter Jez Corden, are departments that were dedicated to selling physical media at retail. He also references a leak of an all-digital Xbox Series X, which was unintentionally revealed during the Activision Blizzard acquisition case brought on by the FTC last year. I feel like there's also signs of the retail side of the industry also moving away from physical media. Like, take for example Best Buy, which is starting to sell physical DVDs and Blu-rays for movies. And maybe it's just me, but does your local Target also look like this photo taken by Danny Pena? I feel like gaming sections are just gift card aisles now. They're no longer just these giant walls of gaming goodness like how I try and remember them by, and which I am pretty sure this is where all of my neck problems started, but that's a different story. It feels like right now that everyone's trying to push their own digital storefronts and their own versions of Game Pass. Even just last week, a Ubisoft Plus executive said that gamers should get used to not owning their games, which is kind of a wild thing to say. For me, I like my physical games, especially on the Switch, and I have an Xbox Series X, which I mostly play Game Pass on, and I have a PS5, but in 2020 it was so hard to get a PS5 in general that I had to settle for a digital version, which is fine. But when there's news of games being pulled from digital storefronts, it just kind of makes me sad that they're just lost to the void. Not because the games are good, just because they're no longer around, which feels off. There are pros and cons to both physical and digital games, but I think the option should still be left up to you to decide.
Yeah, but we're not getting that option anymore. And the reason why is because, companies always try to find ways to be more, to save money and make more money. Right? Save money in production and make more money off their customers. And I like what he said about Best Buy. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year, 2024, Best Buy announced that they were no longer going to continue the product. They were no longer going to sell CDs because nobody's buying CDs. When was the last time you bought a music CD? Let's say, like, a CD for your favorite rapper or musician, right? No, tell me, when was the last time you bought a CD? A long time ago. I see this. This is affecting retailers too. I see this with anime. I see this with music. With music, people just go on Spotify or download, digital download songs, legally, of course. But yeah, and now the gaming industry following up. I think in 2023, 2024, Xbox, Microsoft, they announced a new console that was gonna have no disc. It was just like you buy the console and you can play the games, you connect it to the internet, but there was no disc. You didn't put any disc in there. You had to download it. Download everything. Or it was more like a cloud, kind of like a cloud type of game. A cloud console, which is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, man. So they're full on. They're going full on with this. There's no stopping it. There is absolutely no stopping it. And I think we just kind of have to get accustomed to it. And of course, there's going to be a market for physical stuff, but it's going to be a lot of the old stuff. A lot of the old stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue.
Let me ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
Hold on a second, guys.
About the whole digital and physical debate, because there's a lot of things to break down with this whole debate entirely, because there are benefits to both sides. I'm an individual that loves my overall physicals. I'm a fucking Nintendo person. I love the physical stuff, but I'm also a person that likes digital. Okay, I'm a PC player as well, and I have a PlayStation too, but my PlayStation's for select games. But entirely, this is the factor. Xbox and Sony both push the digital aspect. It is cheaper for them, and it cuts down costs for them quite heavily to not have to produce so much physical copies. The only company that's really not pushing the whole digital thing is Nintendo. Nintendo's been pretty stagnant on it and not really much of a discusser, and they haven't really been promoting their subscription service and all that kind of stuff at all. They're still really heavy on the physical stuff because hardware and all that kind of stuff sells really well for them, and that's what's keeping them really much alive, other than the fact they never do discounts. But entirely, this is the big thing about digital. Digital is very beneficial for companies like Xbox and Sony. They cut down their costs. As you can tell, hardware is cheaper. It really works well for them. Also, if you are worried about not fully owning those games, there are laws and regulations in place to actually say that you fully own those games if you paid full price for them. Subscription service games, though, that's a little different, and that's a whole nother discussion to have in another video. Physical copies, I think there is a very big joy to physical copies, okay? I like collecting, it's really fun, and that's a big joy to it. But if we were going to constantly stay to physical copies, it would be much more expensive for us to actually buy games. If we were physical copies only, we would probably be now looking at the market for the base version of games probably being around $90 to $100. One of the biggest reasons we haven't jumped to that is because of the digital sales. It is cheaper than not having to produce as much, and all they can do is just, hey, it's up here, download, set. There are benefits to both. There is a joy to both. And I think entirely, though, the good thing is that we do have laws and regulations to make sure that we do own the games in the digital form. But I will say in another video, I will address the subscription service thing. This is where the concern comes in, but there are some laws and regulations in that area.
Yeah, so let me tell you guys about why companies are getting rid of CD, specifically in the gaming industry. Look, video games are getting more and more. They require more and more gigabytes. Like I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had it was like 100 GB game. Now you tell me, sir, how in the world are you going to fit 100 GB game into a Blu-ray? How much does a Blu-ray hold exactly? I mean, I don't know how much a Blu-ray hold. I know that a Blu-ray can hold up to like a gig, maybe 2 gigs of a game, right? But like 500 gig, no, excuse me, not 500, like 80 to 100 gigabytes. The average modern video game is about 50 gigabytes to 100 gigabytes, especially for PlayStation 5. There's no way they can put that in a disc. If they do, they're going to need like multiple discs. You know, so we're gonna go back to like the early 2000s in the 90s when like you have like a Final Fantasy game with 3 discs. Yeah, not gonna happen. You know, so it's just cheaper, cost effective for them to just go all digital, right? They make a game, put it on Steam or on whatever, and then just have people download it. And gigabytes are actually pretty affordable. You can get a chip, you can get a storage for like 4,000, 3,000 gigabytes for like $50, $80. I'm serious. Gigabytes storage has become cheaper and cheaper over the years. So and I know you don't own the game, but I think that's also going to change in the future. That might change. I think companies might change the terms of service, or the the print, or like you'll be able to own or somewhat own what you download digitally. I think that might change because the way this is going, people are going to fight back. But for now, this is the old digital future is looking kind of grim. We don't own our digital assets.
I wonder if I should just get the physical copy for this game. Yo, looks like you in some deep thought right now. Yo, Sheed, yeah, I was just contemplating whether I should get the physical copy for this game or the digital one. Which one is better? Well, ultimately, for console games, it really just comes down to preference. If you don't have a lot of physical space and want to be able to switch between games in your library very quickly, then I would go for digital. Digital does sound convenient, but do I actually own those games? So technically, you own a license to play those games just for your account, but it's not like you can sell or transfer it to another person, which is one of the advantages of buying a physical copy. So if you like to sell and trade used games a lot, then I would go for that. Personally, I do a little bit of both. I buy physical copies for the games that I really like just because I think having the case for it is cool, but everything else I go digital. Word, that does make sense. Thanks again, Sheed. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just get the physical copy for this game since I love DBZ and
Yeah, so I think that is something. I know that was a skit. That was obviously a skit. It's kind of funny, but I think that this is something that people are already doing. Where like they buy the digital copy, and if they really like it, then they just go and get the physical. Like now, at least in this stage in the industry, um, we have people that just experiment with that. If they don't like something, if they're not sure about something, they'll test it. They'll test the digital version out, and then they really like it, they'll go and get the physical copy. The physical copy is just gonna become more like a fan thing. Like if you're a big fan of a franchise or some game, you will buy the physical copy, right? The same way, like they have like the regular product, and then there's like the deluxe version that comes with like a booklet and a figurine, for the big fans, the diehard fans. We're gonna get more of that, and I think in the future, companies might sell you a physical copy, and I think that's just gonna be for like the diehard fans, like the hardcore fans. You want a physical copy, we will give you one, but it's gonna cost you like $150, and only the diehard fans are gonna get that copy. I believe that's my. This is Andy Matrix prophecy.
Obsolete. AI is learning your playstyle, not just to challenge you, so that it can become you. And soon you won't even need to touch a controller to play at all. We're already seeing brain-computer interfaces. This allows you to control games with your thoughts. Companies like Neuralink, Valve, and Sony are exploring signals that read your brain's output just by grabbing those little electrical pulses in your brain and then converting them into real game action. Sounds sci-fi, right? But it's already happening. There are gamers with disabilities using early BCI headsets now. And as AI continues to adapt, you'll be able to start training it to play your way. Probably to the point where your AI person can just do it for you even while you're at work. Think about that for a second. While you sleep, your AI grinds your XP, you wake up and loot is already in your inventory? This is the new era, because gaming isn't just about reaction time anymore. It's about technological integration. And those who understand that now, well, they're going to dominate you tomorrow.
Yeah, I actually have not heard of this technology. Yeah, I actually have not heard of this technology, guys. Um, I mean, I've seen the technology being used in the military, where like you put on this headset and you can control things with your mind. But I have not. I haven't seen it in gaming. I haven't seen any videos, nothing from like Intel or Nvidia, nothing like that. So this is brand new. But hey, I mean, we already got the VR headsets. How far are we from like just using our brains as a controller instead of our hands? I don't think we're far from that at all. I really don't. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out our last video.
To show you just how
Hold on a minute. Back up. Damn it.
the fact that the physical gaming market is starting to slowly fizzle out is absolutely terrifying. And that's because the digital gaming space offers no benefits besides not needing to get up off your couch. And to show you just how bad the digital marketplace is, here is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot on a 17% sale today for $24.99 for Xbox. Hard copy. I mean, I could also borrow it from a friend if they had it, but that's besides the point. This is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot on the Xbox Game Store. Still full price $79.99. This is exactly why you don't want the gaming companies dictating the marketplace. Because they will charge you full price for a game that came out like 6 years ago without even thinking the second thought of it. So what are your guys' thoughts? Have you switched to all digital, or are
Yeah, now I will admit that I have actually gone all digital. And I have my own reasons for doing that. There's certain things that I do not collect physically, and video games is one of those. Call me crazy, I actually have a bigger collection of manga than video games. Okay, I buy my games mostly from Steam because it's nice and comfortable. I can just download it and start playing right away. I don't have to drive out of my house to go to GameStop. Call me lazy, whatever. But look, the reason why people buy digital is also because it's just more convenient. It's just more convenient. Do you remember those Black Friday lines? Well, it's kind of similar with game releases, where like the game releases, there's a big line at GameStop, or they run out of physical copies on that day, so you gotta wait like a few days or a week to actually get a copy of the game. Right? With digital downloads, you just go to Steam, download the damn thing, wait like 2 hours for it to download to your PC, and you're good to go. You can start playing that same day, and it's not the same. It's not the same with with physical copies. I remember in the 2000s, 2010s, people would line up these long lines for like a game release. And I think those days are over. There's just digital download is just more beneficial because let's say you want to play. Let's say you're traveling, right? Let's say you're traveling. You go to the airport. You get on the plane. You're on a 5-hour, 10-hour flight. You want to play something, right? You pull out your, I don't know, gaming laptop or your Steam Deck. You play Kingdom Hearts for 1 hour, but then you get tired of Kingdom Hearts. You want to play something else. I don't know. You play Final Fantasy 16 for another hour. If you were to do this, see, you can't do this with physical games. You can't do this with physical games. The thing is, like physical, it takes up space. And you can collect and put it at home. And the only real place that you can put physical is at home. The boxes, all that stuff. Same thing with Japanese manga. With manga, I like collecting my Berserk manga, but it's good to have a digital copy so that when I travel, I want to read, it's right there on my Kindle. You know what I mean? Or on my device. So digital is just so much more convenient. It's just so much more accessible. And that's why, right? That's why, digital sales are much higher than physical. I don't know if anybody ever actually thought about this, but, there's a lot of people, shouting for physical only. But this is why, digital is so popular. It's just so much more convenience. People always vote for convenience. Okay? And I'm actually going to leave it there. Right? I'm going to stop right there. So whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below. Make sure to like this video. Share this video. And subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for future notifications, everybody. It's your boy, Andy Matrix. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Godspeed.